the brush with with homelessness in LA. Like everything has kind of just been gathering momentum pretty much since then.
Hello and welcome to the part 2 season finale of the Slightly Off Plan podcast. My name is Jillian, and in this episode, me and Wosney talk about how he built the platform he has today. From majoring in finance to almost being homeless in LA, Wosney's story is super inspirational. I hope you enjoy. So interesting. Also, we have not talked about anything to do with my podcast, which is fine. But
yeah, it's all good.
No, I love it.
That's the best podcast.
This is great.
Well, you know what? If people want to know about the job journey, because I do think it's important to like talk about that, and because I've had this sort of talk so many times, because my path to what I'm doing is so unconventional.
Yeah.
You know, I left Penn State, moved back to New York, ended up going to Brooklyn College. Then ended up getting
I coached volleyball there for one season.
Oh, that's fire.
Thank you.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you are honorary Brooklyn College member then.
Yeah. I have some Brooklyn College gear from that season.
I love that. So I ended up getting this job at JP Morgan Chase in mortgage banking.
Oh wow.
I do that for like.
What was your major? Sorry.
Finance and econ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna be finance, bro.
Yeah, that's what I thought anyway. So I'm doing that. I did that for 2 years. I got let go, and I was like looking for jobs in that shit. This would have been like 2013, 2014, and I was just having trouble getting another gig in that field. And you know, like obviously the great financial meltdown shit happened smack dab like right at like as we were all leaving college, but we were still recovering from that as an economy at that time. And so it was tough to get a job in the financial sector, at that. And so, the person that I was seeing at the time had asked me if I could be doing anything, what would I be doing? And which I thought was like the most insane question anybody had ever asked me. Like I can't just do anything that I want. Like I can't just wake up tomorrow and be a fucking, a stand-up comedian. Like I would need to train in that. I would need some, but she was like, no, but like, what would you be doing? I was like, why not? I'd probably be working in media and sports media and NBA basketball media specifically, because that's all me and my friends talk about. That's what I'm watching every single night. This is what I spend time while I'm at my office job, hours a day reading about basketball, watching fucking YouTube videos, doing all of this. And she's like, well, do you know anybody that's in that field? And it just so happened that one of Boss's family friends, Amin, just got a job at ESPN. And I was cool with Amin via the internet. And she was like, you should reach out to him. And so I reached out to him, sent him an email, like, yo, I'm really trying to get in this, blah, blah, blah. He gave me some horrible advice. But what did happen is that, I put an inkling in his mind that, this is something that I wanted to do. And ESPN gave him some web show. And back in those days, ESPN was a purely TV product. They didn't give a fuck about the internet. They paid it no mind. Nobody who mattered at ESPN was paying attention to what was happening in digital. And so he got his own digital web show. And he was like, yo, I want you to come on and talk about the Knicks. And because nobody cared who his guests were, nobody was paying attention, there wasn't some vetting process, I wasn't getting paid or anything, I went on, talked about the Knicks, and his producer just liked me. He was like, yo, I think this guy has something. We should have him on more often. And so that would have been 2014, 15. Mm-hmm. And then, mind you, that whole time, I spent a bunch of time not working at all. I spent a bunch of time doing odd jobs. Financially, it was horrible. Of course, my mom, people in my family, wondering, what the fuck is happening with this dude? We thought this guy was, talented and gifted and, had skills. He's wasting his life away, right? But at that time, the more I did it, the more people who I respected in this field that, like I said, I'm reading and listening and consuming so much NBA media content. People who I'm fans of are reaching out to me and like, yo, I fuck with what you do. Yo, you should keep at this. Yo, I don't know if you're trying to do this for real full time, but I think you have some, like, a bunch of people would, like, not a bunch, but every now and again it'd be somebody who would say it. Then somebody else. Then I'd be on with somebody else. And the whole time I'm like sort of amassing a small little following on Twitter via my appearances on these digital ESPN properties. Right? And again, this is like 2015, 2016, all of that stuff. And yeah, and then, dude, slowly but surely, I'm just like getting, and then, you know, like Complex would let me do some freelance shit for like this NBA startup that they had for a little bit because my cousin knew the editor-in-chief there. So I would do like, I'd write a blog and they would pay me like $150. And like, I would get these like one-off, like freelance, like type of things. Like, but all the while, like I said, like I'm amassing more and more of a following via my appearances on these ESPN things with these, like, literally the standard in our industry, these people, like people who I still look up to this day, their work, right? And I'm just some random fucking guy in Queens going on a podcast with them. And, but, you know, whatever, the audience started fucking with me and I'm just doing this. And like I'm just inching closer and closer to legitimacy. And then finally in 2017, I basically like a few of my homies got let go at ESPN. A couple people left, and this guy who was starting an independent media company wanted to hire them, and he wanted to bring me on board too. And that's how I got my first full-time job in NBA media, and that's why I moved to LA. And that was 2017 September. And the best part about this, and this is what, you know, and this is the part of the story that I think is most important to the people who are listening to this. Like, so I moved in September. By February of that year, it was revealed that the guy that hired us had embezzled like $500,000 from his investor. And so the company was done. And so I was out of a job in LA. And I was probably there was like a 2-week period where I was just like, okay, I'm getting 1 more or 2 more paychecks from this company because the main investor was like, yo, I got enough to pay y'all 2 more paychecks and I'm done. This nigga stole all my money. Y'all figure it out on your own. Good luck. Yeah. And mind you, there was an apartment that I was staying at that was supposed to be his apartment. That he was like, you know what, I got you moving to LA on a whim. You can live in this spot until you really feel like, oh, you want to find an apartment and you're good. Like, you're straight to live here. Don't worry about it. Don't trip. You good. Wow. After he stole the money, obviously he disappeared. And now it's eviction time. It's over. You know, LA has pretty good squatters law, so I wasn't going to be immediately out on the streets. But like a week from the electricity being cut off, you know, internet had been cooked. It was getting crazy. So again, like I had already made it up in my mind that I was gonna have to move back to New York, egg in my face, semi-failure, pick up the pieces, start back again.
Wow.
So this would have been like February. Around like February of 2018, because I moved there September of 2017. And I got a call one day from my buddy Taj, a friend of mine who I had made in New York. She had moved to LA probably like 8, 9, 10 months before I did for a job with LeBron's media company, Uninterrupted. And she says, Woz, listen, we're about to do a show with Spotify. Uninterrupted is. We've been auditioning people for like almost 2 weeks now. They're all horrible. The show is music and sports melded into one show. I know that's your bag. I know you're going to kill this. I'm going to get you an audition. What's your email? I'm getting you an audition on Friday. This would have been like a Tuesday. So Friday comes, I get the audition with Uninterrupted. I basically booked that job on the spot.
Wow. Wow.
To the point where they're like testing me with other people and asking me like, yo, what do you think about such and such? Do you think this would work? Blah, 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 blah. Like on the spot, they were like, you're going to be one of our hosts. So that job was like a four-month job or something. And that kept me in LA. Cause now I got this 4-month contract that they were paying me pretty good money. And then I reached out to Boss, who was already living here, and he had a crib. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, you could come stay with me until, you know what I mean, you get your shit right.
Where is because he's still a boss to me.
Yeah, a boss, yeah.
And is he like at this point, okay, I'm going to admit something to you. I'm not a huge rap hip hop.
Sure. Person. No, in 2018, Boss is already paying his bills from being a rapper.
Okay, because like
he's already a successful rapper. Put out his own projects, went on his own tours, all of that.
Okay. I didn't know he was like doing well until like a couple of years ago.
That's funny as hell. God.
I know that's wild, but like,
yeah,
I
would say he's been doing well, by rap standards. I would say by like 2017, he had already been
he's
doing
killing it. Okay, so
really
like
well.
By this point, Abbas is like Abbas.
Yeah, he has a house
Uh-huh.
that he's got. And he's like, yeah, you can stay with me, bro. Like, don't trip. Like, this is what I have the house for, to help people out when, like, they're in a bind. And so I booked the uninterrupted job, making some decent bread with them. Me and my buddies who, those ESPN guys who left it, who either got let go or left their jobs at ESPN to do this sports media startup. We then start our own company together that we're all part owners of, with no funding, no backers, no nothing, that we just owned outright, no investment. And, we get a Patreon going, blah, 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 blah. And then like just out the gate, like we're at like 1,500 subscribers, of varying levels of contribution. So this is tens of thousands of dollars a month out the gate we're able to, to raise from our new independent venture. Fast, and so that happens pretty much immediately. This is like around March of 2018. By I want to say September of that same year, this company called The Athletic reached out to us and was like, yo, we're about to start. We've already been killing it in editorial. We're about to start our audio and video content, and we want you guys to be who launches our NBA digital podcast product. And so, yeah, they bought our NBA product from us. I ended up getting hired by them full time, which was like another big thing in my career, because I'm like literally working with like, my byline says The Athletic, which is the same as some of the most important, biggest people in NBA media like ever, literally. People like Frank Isola and David Aldridge. These are people that are in the actual Hall of Fame, like the same Hall of Fame that Michael Jordan's in, like David Aldridge is also in.
Yeah.
And these are the people that I'm working with now, and it just gave my shit even more legitimacy. And so, yeah, I did The Athletic for 2 years. I think The Athletic really stamped me as like an official sort of media credentialed member. And then, more and more people, more and more decision makers, people that could elevate me, empower me even more, became familiar with the work that I was doing. And then, I got hired by The Ringer in 2021, and I've been there for like 3 years. So I've been working for The Ringer and Spotify for like 3 years now. Our fucking NBA podcast is in either the third or fourth biggest NBA podcast in the world. And yeah, man, like we're doing our thing. And yeah, it all started from just an idea and like really pursuing it and being something that I knew that I could be good at and working at it. And, like some tough moments of like brokenness and, damn near evicted and blah, 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 blah. And to now I can confidently say, I'm one of the prominent people in my industry, 100%. I'm not like talking shit. I'm not patting myself on the back. Like when it comes to NBA coverage, like I'm definitely one of the, most prominent people in our field. And so, yeah, man, like, that's the quote unquote journey, if you will.
That is so cool. That is so cool because
Yeah.
like it just sounds like a lot of how you got to where you are today is just like your raw natural talent and like and honing in on that and like
Yeah.
and really like believing in yourself, not to sound cheesy or anything, but being like, no, I'm good at
Yeah.
this. Like I got like this is my thing. And also just like really utilizing the people around you and knowing the right people, which I am starting to learn is is a real reflection of who you are, because I think that like because I'm new to this whole thing and I've gotten some really cool opportunities that I'm so thankful for. I haven't made it yet or whatever. I'm not making enough from this yet to say that I'm this is my livelihood, but I've gotten some cool opportunities to get this far, and sometimes it has just been people reaching out to me and being like, hey, I've heard of this opportunity, like I want to get you on board. And at first I was just like, am I working hard for it, because like these opportunities are coming to me and I'm not going to them. But then I was like, but actually I think that speaks to who I am, that these opportunities are attracting me, or I'm being attracted to these opportunities. And what I'm hearing from you is like, because you're good at this, these opportunities found you, or you found the opportunities. People reached out to you, you reached out to people, and like and you're
That's part of it.
Yeah, you're not always going to get that yes, because of life, but because of like the hard work that you've put in and because of your natural talent, like that's how that's part of how you got to be one of the most prominent people in the NBA media space, which is like awesome.
So what I would say, there's like three things that I would say. One, I think it's extremely important to get encouragement. And I know that's not something you can control, but like there was a lot of people around me who, when things weren't going great and I, looking for work and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, when is this thing going to happen for me? And blah, 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 blah. Like people would be like, bro, like, yes, you're not making money off of this thing yet, but like, trust me, you are good at what you're doing. Right. So like, I think I'm like decent or whatever, but like people encouraging me and me taking the encouragement to heart. That's another thing. Like me being like, damn, if like this person really thinks that like this is something I should pursue, cool. So I think that's huge. The encouragement part is huge. I think, I don't want to say patience, but I think progress not being linear. I think people need to be acceptant of that. Like progress doesn't always happen in a straight line. It's not going to look like this. It's not going to feel exponential all the time. I think that's another thing that people need to realize. And I think the last thing that I would say is you need to be more centered in what you're good at than what you're not. Meaning, we all have weaknesses and we want to shore those weaknesses up. But shoring up your weaknesses can never come before leaning into the things that make you good or great at whatever the hell it is you're doing. So concentrate always on what you are doing well at. Again, that's not to say that you should never think about shoring up something you're not as strong at, but you can never let that take precedence over the thing that makes you you, that makes you distinct at whatever you're bringing to the table that you're coming to. And that's all I would say to folks, man, like in terms of like pursuing what you want to do in life and your dreams, etc. I think it's important to always remember what makes you dope at what you do. And I think a lot of people sometimes will get bogged down of being like, damn, man, like I could be like, man, there's this guy on TV who's like got a way better looking beard than I do, or man, there's this guy on TV who, his diction is this and blah blah blah, and it's like, all right, I want to get better at that. Like, yeah, I need to work out so I can look better on camera, and I want to work on like, diction and this and this and that. But like, I'm always gonna have to, like, in order for people to care about what I'm doing, I have to be great at the things that Woz is great at, first and foremost. Yeah. And so that's what I would say.
I honestly feel like you were speaking. I know you're speaking on your stuff, but I feel like you were speaking directly to me, because like
that's what I was telling you. Your situation is like, very in line with mine. It just is. It's true.
The encouragement part, like it's and you know what? Two things you said that really stuck out to me: the encouragement part, but also accepting it, because this still blows my mind, and it's still really early days for me, but I'm getting good encouragement from everything that I've put out, and
believe them.
It's hard for me to be like, are people just being nice?
No, you gotta believe them.
It's scary to be like, maybe I am good at this. It's scary it feels vulnerable, because there's still like a little fly in the back of my head that's like, well, I mean, bitch, maybe nothing's gonna come of this, and this is gonna be a big fucking waste of time. But there was a day a few days ago where 3 different people messaged me. I didn't message them. They messaged me, and they were like, I listened to your podcast. I love what you're doing. Keep doing this. And I'm like,
straight up.
Why? But
no, you gotta believe these people. Like, if you're doing your part to put everything you got into it, man, like, you gotta believe it when something, meaningful is coming out of the other end. Like,
I'm just letting you know right now, like, I'm taking that clip, like the last like 5 minutes, and I'm just gonna have it on repeat like all the time. Like, it's gonna be my morning affirmation.
Hey man, this is, look, I ain't the Dalai Lama or anything, but these are things that I believe, like, wholeheartedly and truly. I really do. Like, when I see somebody, like one of my homies is doing something, like put a song out or whatever, and he's not doing this full time, but I think it's dope. Like, I'm gonna tell him, like, yo, the shit was dope. Like, I'm happy you put that out, or whatever the case may be. I'm always, because that shit matters, man. Like, it really does help people lift themselves up when they don't always feel like they have it within themselves to, like, do something great. To hear that other people, even and people that they love and care about them, fuck with what they're doing and, like, are encouraging them. I think it's a big deal.
It's such a big deal. Thank you so much. I want to go back to one of the things you said about progress not being linear, because I also think that that's something that I need to hear. But I want to go back to, like, kind of your journey and kind of like the setbacks. Because it's overcoming the setbacks, right? That kind of get you to where you are. Were there any specific setbacks that happened in that, like, kind of time period where you were just like, where you almost gave up and you were just like, I don't fucking know? And if you remember that moment, how did you get to the other side of it?
I think, there was definitely, I would say probably like before, like probably 2016, maybe early on, where it's like I had like started going down this path, and I did feel like I was making progress in terms of my own talent and my ability to do the work in a way that people found interesting and entertaining, but like there just was no movement on something tangible. It was just like people, prominent people in the business, following me on Twitter and DMing me and telling me like how dope I was, but these weren't people, that had control of head count at Sports Illustrated or something like that, right? Yeah. And so these things just weren't happening, and it was like I had spent so much time like trying to pursue this, and it kind of felt like eventually I was gonna have to pivot and like put my energies into something way more tangible, Even if that meant something, like I remember I took the FDNY exam type of shit, right? Like even if that meant something like that, like there was this feeling where, just things weren't just going my way. And I do remember
Sorry.
talking.
Sorry to interrupt. That is such a Queens thing, by the way, to
Yeah, of
to kind of
course.
be at this crossroad. I kid you not, my other Queens episode, my boy Danny was at a crossroad and he was like, I'm just gonna take the FDNY exam.
Yeah, nah. For real. It's a freaking great job.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like, or just this idea that you would do something that just felt more stable, get a pension, do all of those type of things. Um, because it felt like all these other avenues were like getting away from me because it had been so long since I put like enough energies into making that shit happen. And there was a point where it definitely felt like, all right, man, like I've put a lot into trying to get this shit off the ground in terms of like just energy and brain power and like, because like when people aren't hanging out with you on a day-to-day basis, like they really wonder what you're doing. And it's just like, bro, like I don't get good or like knowledgeable or I don't wake up in the morning and just have this shit. Like I'm really like putting in the work to like be the kind of person who could get on a mic and like confidently say some shit. Like I'm really like putting in work for this. I'm really like, on the train, going somewhere and like reading books and like, all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And so but I just remember one of my closest homies, man, who like, he knew every step of the way what I was doing and what I was pursuing. And he like from the outside looking in, because he was working in, because sports is like sort of entertainment adjacent, industry adjacent. He's just like, nah, like all of these little touch tones that you're doing, I promise you, there's people who are trying their hardest to do what you're pursuing right now, and they're having trouble getting to level 2. Bro, you're at like level 7 right now. Like you are right on the verge. I distinctly remember this conversation. He was like, yes, it hasn't panned out into the literal check that you feel like you need ASAP to justify this pursuit. But he's like, bro, like I'm telling you, look at like people that are trying to get in from the ground up, like they would be dying to be in a position that you are right now in terms of the connections you've made, the actual content that you've been a part of, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, damn, like when you put it like that, you're actually right. And then yeah, man, it wasn't long after that when something actually happened, and shit has just kind of just been snowballing ever since, the brush with with homelessness in LA. Like everything has kind of just been gathering momentum pretty much since then, which I feel very fortunate about. But it's just like, it's just confirmation that I just need to keep going, keep working, keep doing what I'm doing in the sense of like keep getting better at what I do, like and just attacking it in the way that I have, and that's basically what it's been.
That's amazing. That's such a cool story. And I love it even more obviously cuz like we're, kids of immigrants, like
Yeah, of
kids,
course,
like
of
it's
course.
there's a hustle that is within Queens kids. There's a hustle that's within it, like kids of immigrants, that you just don't see in any other type of people. And like and that I love it, like that I love it. And I love when it pans out and it's successful, and you are doing well, and it feels like you're just like not gonna slow down anytime soon. Like you sound like you're not gonna get comfortable. You're not like, okay, I got here, like I'm
Yeah,
good.
nah, like there's too many guys in my field who are way richer than me for me to get comfortable. So nah, I won't be comfortable anytime soon. But yeah, man, it's just the work continues and just keeping a mind. And I try to keep a positive mindset about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
About where I'm at and be like, yeah, I can be doing more, can be doing better, and just being diligent about the smartest way to pursue those ends.
Man, that's Awesome. If you could go back to the Wosney that had just graduated Brooklyn College, that Wosney, if you could give him advice, what advice would you give him?
I would say it's a variation of what I've already said, but what I would tell him is to not even just believe in yourself, but believe that your talents are actually real. Because a lot of times I think like when you're good at something and you feel like you didn't like try crazy hard at it, you can kind of take it for not granted, but just be like, how valuable can this thing that I didn't put a crazy amount of my own work into, how valuable could it be if I didn't, you know, spend a lot of time consciously and with intention putting work into it? That's what I would tell him. I would like, these things that you happen to be good at, don't think that they're not valuable just because you feel like it's just shit you happen to be good at. So that's what I would say to that version of myself for sure. Because I would say like that's the difference between me now and me then is like, yeah, I wouldn't even say it's like I'd never say I didn't believe in myself, but like it was hard for me to see how I could harness whatever it was that I had. And like I never thought to myself, oh, I don't have anything to offer. It's just like, how do I like point this gun that we call talent in the direction of something, and so that's what I think the youngest version of myself probably was having the biggest problems with, and yeah, that's what I would tell him.
Wosney, I cannot even say again. I know I keep saying this, but like that resonates with me so much. Right now, people like the number one like compliment I get when I'm my latest adventure has been like doing a lot of hosting. I'm hosting quiz nights. I'm hosting like improv nights, all that stuff. And the number one thing people say to me is like, you were so warm and you make everyone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And I love
But
that.
But you've always been like that.
I love that as a compliment, but sometimes I don't know what to do with that, if that makes sense. And
do it more.
Yeah.
That's what you do with it.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Keep on. Do it more.
Do it more.
Be conscious of it.
Yeah.
These things that you care about putting out, like, that's it. There's a reason why you care about putting stuff out in that way. And yeah, do more. Do it more. That's what I would say you do with that.
That's amazing. I'm not kidding when I say I'm just gonna listen to this last like 30 minutes just on repeat.
Good.
Like on the way to like
excellent.
Work and stuff.
I love that. I've listened to my own pods before too. Trust me, it's not that weird. It's not that weird.
Oh my God, Wosney, thank you so much. It was so great
problem.
having you on. This is my last episode for this season. And
the season finale.
This is the season finale. The season finale. And I cannot thank you enough for jumping on and giving me all your advice and giving me so much of your time.
Yeah, it's no problem, Killer. I told you. Like, we go way back. So
Queens kids.
It's all love.
Queens kids. Hi, me again. Could I have looked better for filming this video? Yes, but this is the realness that you get on the Slightly Off Plan podcast. I am sitting here in my childhood bedroom in New York editing this last episode, and I was gonna end it the way that I normally do with the music by Sinke and the my logo and all that stuff. But this is the last episode of season 1, and I just wanted to do something a little extra, even though I don't look so great. But if you have watched multiple episodes, or if this is the first episode that you watched, thank you so much for being here and supporting me in this crazy endeavor of a year where I decided with no experience that I was going to start a podcast. And I learned a lot. When there were a lot of frustrations, there was lots of ups and downs, and I have so much room to grow. But I am excited that I did it. One of the goals that I had for this year was to put out 10 episodes, and I did that. And there were so many times over the last year where I just wanted to give up, and I was just like, what is the point of this? And am I even good at this, etc., etc. And one of the things that helped me to keep going was the support from some of you. So thank you so much. And I will be back here next year with season 2. And I'm just so thankful. So thank you for everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all the things.